Welcome back. This is video number 4 in our 10-part video series for firefighter recruits. We created this video series specifically for our students who are preparing for the mathematical components on their firefighter aptitude test. We teach them a 4-step process in terms of how to work through a word problem, and that is what we're working with in this video series. So that's what you're learning here is the 4 steps. I'll go over those with you. The 4 steps in terms of how to solve a word problem. Number 1, you have to identify what you know out of that word problem. Number 2, once you know what you need to do, then you can start to make a plan and start to think about what is required of you in the mathematical section. And then move on to number 3. This is where you actually do the math. And then the last step is to evaluate and find the answer on the options that are there. Okay, so we're going to jump right into the first question, and that is, there are 138 containers on the train. The containers average 92 pounds in weight. How many pounds of containers must the train transport? When we are in stage 1, the first thing I would like you to do is take a look at your numbers, because you are going to be presented with mixed math on a math test. And what I mean by that is, one question could be fractions, the next question could be decimals, the next question could be whole numbers. So you have to know what kind of math you're being asked in order to start to work towards solving the problem. So look at your numbers and see what you can identify. In this case, we've got 138 and 92. Those are whole numbers. You notice that there are no decimals, there's no fractions, there's no indication of percents, no rates, nothing along that line. So you're dealing with whole numbers. All right. Now from there, once you know the type of math, you want to identify the operations that are required of you. When I say operation, I mean adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing. You could be asked to do one of those operations, or you could be asked to do multiple operations in a problem. That's why it's important to take a look and see what it is you're supposed to be doing. All right, so we have a number of containers, and each of those containers weighs a set amount. So in that case, you have individual items, which are your containers, and then you have a group, which is the amount of weight, right? 92 pounds. When you see sets and groups, start to think about multiplying and dividing. All right, so we've got your pounds and your containers. And then conveniently in between those two, you have the word of. If you are a student of mine, I want you to go into your notes and look up what the word of means in terms of operation, and then put it in the comments. I'm not going to tell you because I want to teach you in these videos. If you are a YouTuber and you're new and you know what I'm talking about here, put it in the comments. What does the word of mean in terms of operations? Okay. We're going to move on to number 2. Plan to solve your problem. Once you know what you need to do, then you can go ahead and start to plan to solve your problem. We have to figure out how many pounds of containers must the train transport. So how many pounds? In this case, we're going to multiply. If you've come back and you wrote multiply in the comments, you're correct. And now that we know how to do that, we're going to go ahead and just do the math. So 92 by 138, I'll do the math for you and I'll show you how to set it up, okay? So when you're multiplying, you want to put the number with the most digits on top. So 138 goes on top, and then put the second number down below and make sure that you align those numbers. All right, once you do that, you're going to multiply from the right to the left, one number at a time. 2 times 8 is 16. You're going to put the 6 down below and then carry the 1 over. Move over and multiply again. So 2 times 3 is 6. Add the 1 that you carried. Okay, so 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Put the answer down below. And then go ahead and do the next number. 2 times 1 is 2. There was no numbered carry, so you don't need to worry about that. All right, we're moving on to multiplying the 9, but before we do, give yourself an X. You could use a 0 if you wanted to. You just want to put some sort of placer there to shift your answer over 1. If you don't do that, you'll get your answer wrong. So I use the X to push it over automatically. And then from there, do your multiplication. 9 times 8 is 72. Carry your 7 over. 9 times 3 is 27. Plus 7 is 34. Carry your 3 over. 9 times 1 is 9. Plus 3 is 12. Okay, now you'll know if you've got your math correct if you have a row of answers for each of the numbers on the bottom. So I've got 2 rows. The top row is for the answers multiplied by the 2, and the bottom row is the answers multiplied by the 9. Now, the last step is to add those numbers up. See if I can do it here. I don't know how much room I have left. Let's see. Okay, so 6 and X is 6. 7 and 2 is 9. 2 and 4 is 6. And then we've got 12 and 1. So 12,696 is our answer. Go ahead and move over to the last step, which is to evaluate. Here you're going to select the correct answer of the multiple choice options, which is C. I want to stop here. If you don't get the correct answer, that is, if you do the math and you don't see the answer as an option, go back and check your work. All right. So if you do the math on paper, like what I just did, you can go back and just double check your multiplication of both the 2 and the 9. And if you get it wrong and find your answer, then you can go back and select the right one and get the test mark. So it's important to do your calculations on paper if you can. And that way, if you don't get the answer at the end, you can go back and check your work. Most of the time, the students that I work with, when they do check their work, find their error, make the correction and move forward. That's why I say it. It's really important that you do it if you're in a testing situation. Okay. That is it in terms of the video and how to answer this type of question. We went through the 4 steps to solve a problem, a word problem. That is to identify what you know. So remember, you're looking for the type of math, the operation, and also identify what you're being asked and keep that in mind. All right. Step 2 was your plan to solve the problem. So it was a really simple problem to do here this time around. All we had to do is multiply. So that was the plan. Multiply whole numbers. We did the math. I showed you how to do the math. There was some carrying there. So if you are struggling in multiplying, do make sure you practice calculating carrying. Also, I would strongly encourage all of you to download a free app that works your multiplication. It can be a game or it can be flashcards. It doesn't matter in terms of the format, because math is math. But at the end of the day, if it takes you time to figure out a simple multiplication math fact, you're taking time out of your test to do that when you don't have to. You should know your math facts before you get into your aptitude test. So when you're working in that time allotment, you're actually solving questions instead of working on stuff you should have known and prepared for in advance. So, like I said, math is math. Get a free app, and it doesn't matter if it's geared towards kids or if it's geared towards girls or if it's geared towards, like, it doesn't matter. Just find one you like and find and do it. Just use it as I always tell my students to use their multiplication app as often as one would use social media. So it's not about using it a long period of time. It's about reviewing the material over and over and over and over and over again to get it into your head so that it comes like this. And when you're doing math, it comes a lot quicker. Also, if you are working towards the NTN FireTEAM Test, it has a mental math component to it. If you don't know how to multiply in your head, you're underprepared for that test. Okay, so that is probably the biggest tip I'm going to give you out of this entire video is to please multiply so that you are better prepared to handle mathematics test questions on your firefighter aptitude test. My name is Luann. I own Smart Tutoring and I love tutoring firefighter recruits. It is ultimately my pleasure to do that. I enjoy it. So if you are looking for a tutor or a means to prepare for your next firefighter aptitude test, check out the links below. It'll take you to all of the services that I provide. And I work online on Eastern Standard Time because I'm in Ontario, but I specifically work with recruits across Canada. And that's it. Leave a note in the comments, say hi, and I will be back. Subscribe because I'm definitely coming back for more to help you. Okay, bye for now. Thanks very much.